Hey guys, how's it going? Solo back with another Thursday daily update video. One more trading day before we get on with our weekend, and taking a look at the heat map here. Overall green day. Big tech did not have a great day, kind of flat. Google was down at 1.3%, but Google has been in the news a lot with people declaring them a monopoly, and even Facebook's been in the news lately with people wanting to break up Facebook and WhatsApp and Instagram. But today we're going to talk about Corsair. It's been about 5 days since I made my last video on Corsair, and let's see if my price predictions were correct. We'll talk about some news on Corsair. Corsair actually had a very good day today, so we'll take a look at Robinhood, we'll take a look at some recent news articles, and we will end the video with technical analysis, and I'll show you the option flow data from today to see if we can get any sort of hints from what the big money is thinking with Corsair. So let's just jump right into it and look at the Robinhood graph on Corsair. The market just closed, so we're getting hot off the press after hours data as I'm making this video. But take a look at this. Corsair pre-market was kind of flat, right? Just up about 0.5%, choppy for about the first hour or so, half an hour of trading, and then it just took off to the moon up until about 11 a.m. was up over 5.5%. Sold it off a little bit, and then we just slowly melted up for the rest of the day. Take a look at this. In the last 10 minutes of trading, we went from 39.18 to close the day at 39.77. We up from about 4.56% to 6.14% in the matter of 10 minutes. So close at the day strong. Looks like we are selling it off a little bit so far in after hours trading, but no big deal. Like I said, we are up over 6% on the day. Let's take a look at the weekly graph, and this is what I like to see, just up and to the right. So it looks like from when I made my last video on Corsair 5 days ago, it looks like this thing is just very bullish right now. Let's see in a few minutes to see if the technical analysis predictions that I made support what's happening right now. Before we get into that, I did see an article on Corsair, so let's take a look at that and see what some of these analysts have to say about the stock. So here's an article I saw again on Yahoo Finance, but they reference the website Insider Monkey, and I was actually very surprised reading this stock because I did not think Corsair was that popular with the big money, with the institutional investors. I get it, a lot of the millennials, a lot of the younger generation know Corsair from their PC gaming components and also their internal PC building components. So people like me were very familiar with Corsair even before it IPO'd. I didn't think a lot of the boomers and the hedge fund managers would know about Corsair, but reading this article, they actually do. So reading through this article, this is what surprised me. In the third quarter of 2020, actually 13 hedge funds own shares of Corsair. The previous quarter, quarter 2 of 2020, no hedge funds owned Corsair stock. And just if you don't know, Corsair recently became IPO'd, so there's no data before the second quarter of 2020. But it's surprising that all of a sudden 13 hedge funds are bullish on Corsair. So let's take a look and a deep dive into what hedge funds these are and what kind of positions they have. So if we scroll through the article, you can see that right now it says at Q3's end, a total of 13 of the hedge funds tracked by Insider Monkey were long this stock, a change from 13 1 quarter earlier. And this graph is kind of weird because they have all this space here on the left from the earlier quarters, but it's all blank because, like I just said, Corsair recently became an IPO. So I'm not sure why they made this chart like this, but basically all this is showing you is that the second quarter of 2020, like I said earlier, 0 hedge funds had positions in Corsair, and then 1 quarter later in the third quarter, now all of a sudden 13 hedge funds have Corsair shares. The biggest hedge fund that has shares of Corsair is Citadel Investment Group. They have $38.1 million worth of stock at the end of September. That's huge. $38 million worth of stock. As we're speaking, as I just showed you on Robinhood, this stock is trading for $30 to $40 or so. So they have tons of shares if they have $38 million worth. The next biggest hedge fund position is Millennium Management, and they only have 8.5 million positions, or $8.5 million worth of stock, I should say. Now, as far as the weighting, actually Element Capital Management, they have the biggest allocation or the biggest weighting in terms of their overall portfolio, in that about 0.64% of its portfolio is made up of Corsair stock. The second biggest weighting is actually Pins Capital, and they have 0.51% of their portfolio weighted or earmarked for Corsair stock. So that's actually very surprising, because a lot of these hedge funds are made up of boomers that I'm even shocked that they even know what Corsair is as a company or what kind of products they make. I just thought this run up on Corsair was mainly because of the Robinhood traders and the younger millennials and Gen Z and Gen X traders that already are familiar with the company. They like the products, they like the peripherals, they like the gaming hardware, and they just want to support a brand that they like. But this recent run up on Corsair may actually be because of the institutional investors, because of the big money. I mean, like I said, one hedge fund has 38 million, another one has 8.5 million. So they are clearly driving up the price per share on Corsair with these huge investments in the company, which is great for people that already own shares. I personally, full disclosure, I have never traded shares or options on Corsair. I have no position, but I know people in my Discord server and other people on Reddit and other forums, they're in on Corsair. So it looks like these hedge funds and institutional money is helping them out boost the stock. Now, this is where the article loses me, because the last paragraph, they talk about stocks similar to Corsair Gaming, and the stocks they list have nothing to do with computer peripherals or gaming. I mean, they're talking about Cryoport, a therapeutics company, a car rental company. I'm assuming they're talking about stocks that have similar company size, similar financials and things like that, and not a similar product or a similar sector, because none of these companies, like I said, have or sell computer parts or gaming peripherals or anything like that. So I'm not sure. This article kind of went off the reservation towards the end, but the data that I got from this article was very surprising. Let me know in the comments below if you knew that hedge funds and a lot of these boomers had a lot of shares of Corsair, because it was certainly news to me. As always, let's finish up this video by taking a look at the TradingView chart on Corsair. So here's where we left our technical analysis on Corsair 5 days ago. This was the candle that we were left with. On December 11th, we had a red candle. We had broken down below, closed below this area of support at about $34, and we bounced off intraday these 50% Fibonacci level at just about $32, just shy of $33. And you can see this pink line that I have hidden behind these candles, and this pink line, I kind of said, I don't know if it's going to go up or if it's going to go down, because it's kind of straddling this area of support. We'll have to wait and see. And as we can see, it clearly decided to go up. So I am going to delete this pink line, because I said if it was going to sell off, it was probably going to use this pink line, which is the 50-day moving average, as support. That didn't happen. It actually used this trend line at about $34 as support and continued higher. So right now, we closed the day green. Corsair was actually up, like I said, 6.2%. And we had a very bullish move today, because not only did it close above what was once resistance at about $37, $38, but it also closed above the 21-day moving average. We were trading below it for the past week or so. So this was a very bullish move on Corsair. And right now, in the short term, I am looking for Corsair to continue its bullish uptrend. Now, the real question is, where is our next area of resistance? Well, right now, we have this red line here, which is the 23.6% Fibonacci level. And you can see back on December 1st, intraday, we topped out right there. And that's at about $42.50 or so. Can I find an area of resistance between this support at about 38 and this Fibonacci level at about 42, 43? And maybe there might be an area of support, or I should say resistance, right here at about $40.50. And I say that because we have this candle body that topped out there on November 20th. We have this wick on November 30th, and pretty much this candle on December 1st. Granted, there's only 3 days of price action here. If I zoom out, as you can see, Corsair has not been trading for that long. So there's no price action historically in this region yet. I do think that $40.50 will act as resistance, but you can see we closed pretty much $1 or less shy of that. So if we have another green day tomorrow, and if we close above this trend line, then I do think that our next area of resistance will be about $42 $1.50 or so. But it does look right now that tomorrow, to close out the week, it seems like Corsair wants to end the week on another green note because it does look bullish short term. RSI is a little bit overbought, but nothing to be too concerned about. It's only at about an RSI of 60, so not really overbought. I mean, take a look how overbought we were back in the end of November, and that's what prompted this sell-off here. But right now, I am rather short-term bullish on Corsair because of what the TA is showing me right now. Let's end the video by taking a look at the TradeUI option flow data to see what some of the big money did in terms of the option flow today. So here's the option flow data on Corsair. Only 2 sweeps came in today, one at around 11 a.m., the other one around 1 p.m., but they were both calls that were bought for January 15th, 2021, so roughly a monthly option here, and they were both at the $50 strike. And take a look at this, they're both about $50,000 worth of position each. So about $100,000 worth of call options were bought today on Corsair for a monthly option at the $50 strike. And at the time, Corsair was trading at about $39.50. So people are betting on a more midterm bullish sentiment on Corsair. The TA, I think, is showing us more short-term bullish momentum, but it looks like some of the big money players are thinking more along the midterm, more in about a month or so, Corsair will still remain bullish. So right now, it seems like all things are a go. I mean, if you had shares right now, I think you're looking pretty good based on what the data that I've shown you so far. I think if you had some cash secured puts, if you were wheeling Corsair right now, you're probably looking pretty good. You know, if you had covered calls and you don't want those shares to get called away, I would keep an eye on them. Make sure you don't get assigned or your option doesn't get exercised if it's in the money. That's really my TA and my update for Corsair today. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Let me know if you have positions on Corsair, how they're doing so far. Hopefully they're green. Make sure you join our Twitter. Make sure you join our Instagram. Make sure you join our Discord. Follow me on Reddit. And most importantly, have a green day and happy trading.